Let's start in a comfortable seated position. If you have a folded up blanket or a cushion or a block nearby, you're welcome to sit up on the edge of that. And then you could try taking one foot in front of the other, sitting with your legs crossed in easy pose, and see how that feels for your knees. But you're also welcome to stretch one or both legs out in front of you if that feels better for your body. I want you to just make yourself as comfy as you can. Perhaps taking a little rock side to side, forward and back, just allowing your weight to balance on your sits bones. And then begin to extend the crown of your head up towards the sky. As you lengthen your spine, think of the spine stacking head over ribs and ribs over pelvis. And stacking vertebra on top of vertebra, creating lots of space for our lungs. And just allow the tops of the shoulders to soften and the tops of the thighs to soften. And bring your palms to rest either into your lap or onto your thighs. Your hands could face up or they could be turned down onto your legs. So find what feels good for you. To begin to draw your attention into the space of your body, start to observe whatever sensations you can feel. And begin to focus in on the sensation of your breath. Drawing each in-breath deep into the bottom of the lungs, so the abdomen expands like a big balloon. With each out-breath, gently draw your navel back towards your spine as your lungs empty. Each time you inhale, let the spine grow a little bit taller. As you exhale, soften tension. Gradually deepening your breath in a way that doesn't create any extra tension in your body. Noticing anytime your attention starts to drift outside of your body or away from your breath. And gently return your focus to your next deep breath in and your next long breath out. Keeping your weight balanced on your sits bones and your spine tall. Let's extend our fingertips down to the floor on either side of the body. Find a gentle hug of the shoulder blades towards one another as the chest lifts up. And then as you inhale, reach your right fingertips towards the ceiling. Draw your navel towards your spine. Use your exhale to bend to the left side. As you inhale, let's draw the body through the center. Lower the right palm down, reach the left arm up. Keep your core engaged to support you and exhale, side bending to the right. And we're going to keep going side to side. And as you do this, I want you to keep your lower body as stable as you can. The pelvis shouldn't be rocking side to side. We want both thigh bones to stay really heavy, allowing our spine to move in union with our breath. And as you move here with your breath, you might start to practice ujjayi breathing. Gently narrowing the back of your throat as if you're fogging up a mirror so that your breath creates an ocean sound. Next time you inhale, coming back to the center, let's relax our arms down and give the shoulders a roll. And then extend your fingertips down in front of you, either to your front shin or the mat. As you breathe in, lift up through your sternum. And then keeping a nice long spine, use your exhale to hinge from your hips and slowly walk yourself forward. I want you to pause at a place where your knees and your hips feel happy. If it feels better for your neck, you're welcome to soften the chin forward towards the chest. And then begin to invite your breath down into your lower back. With your palms supporting you, let's take an inhale. Slowly walk the torso all the way back up. As you exhale, give your shoulders a big roll. And then take a peek down at your legs. Notice which of your feet is in front. And then stretch your legs forward and shake out your knees. And we're going to come back to easy pose, sitting with the opposite foot forward. Remember, if that doesn't feel good for your knees or your hips, you modify this in any way that you need to. And let's balance the weight on the sits bones as we lengthen through the spine. And with a deep breath in, reaching both arms up over the head, lengthen. As you exhale, slowly turn to the right, touching your right fingertips to the floor behind you. Left palm can cross to the right leg. Big inhale, we reach the arms up, turn to face forward. And then exhale, twist the body to the left hand behind you, right palm crosses. You take your gaze where your neck feels comfortable. Inhale, arms reach up, and again, our lower body staying stable, pelvis grounded. As you exhale, twist through your spine. Moving at the pace of your breath. Keeping your shoulders relaxed away from your ears. Next time you inhale and reach the arms up, turning to face forward, we'll pause there. As you exhale, relax your arms all the way down. Circle your shoulders back, opening up the chest, and then reach your fingertips down to your front shin or the mat. Deep inhale, stretch the sternum up towards the ceiling, and then long exhale to walk yourself forward. You pause at the place that feels best for your body, and then invite your breath down into your low back and into your hips. With the help of your palms, let's inhale and walk ourselves all the way back up. Sitting up tall, use your exhale, circle your shoulders back. And then stretch your legs forward, give your knees another little shake. You might roll your ankles and wiggle your toes, allowing your joints to move. And then if you're sitting on any height, let's slide that off to the side and make our way onto our hands and our knees. Feel free to add extra cushioning underneath your knee joints if that feels better for your body. Now let's align our wrists underneath our shoulders and our knees underneath our hips. And then if it feels okay for your feet, tuck through your toes and spread your fingers wide apart. Tuning into the rhythm of your breath, use your next exhale to round your spine, lifting your back towards the ceiling as you draw chin towards chest. And with a deep breath in, let's drop the abdomen towards the mat, lift the tailbone, the chest, and the gaze extending through the spine. Exhaling to round the back, lifting the spine up towards the ceiling. Inhaling to lengthen. And let your breath guide your movement. Next time you exhale, keep your spine rounded. And then bring your knees and your feet together. Keep your toes tucked under. Draw yourself into a neutral spine. And then you can stay here with your wrists underneath your shoulders, or if it feels safe for your knees, your ankles, and your feet, you can slowly start to walk your seat back towards your heels. So we're shifting a little bit more weight into the feet. If this aggravates the knees at all, you can grab a folded up blanket or a cushion for in between the seat and the heels. And you're welcome to keep as much weight as you need into your palms. But if your body feels comfortable with it, you can also sit all the way back onto your heels. And just make sure that your pinky toes don't get left behind. You can reach down and tuck them under if you need to, and then stretch the heels back behind you as you sit up tall and breathe deeply. With an inhale, let's slowly walk ourselves forward, taking weight back into the palms, moving any supports off to the side. You can untuck your toes, wiggle them and roll your ankles, or lightly tap the tops of the feet onto the floor. And then backing yourself up on your mat if you need to, so you have a little bit more space out in front of you. Let's take our knees underneath our hips, contract through the core, and then step your palms way out in front of you, fingers spread wide, hands shoulder width apart. And with an exhale, let's let the head and the chest sink so we create a long spine here and a little downward puppy dog. If this feels like too much for elbows or wrists or shoulders, I want you to take your tailbone all the way back to your heels for child's pose. But if your body feels okay here, I want you to press down into the knuckles of your hands. Keep the front of the ribs hugging in so we create a long spine, and then breathe into the sides of your rib cage. And with your core engaged, take an inhale, carefully walk yourself up to your hands and your knees. Resting the tops of your feet on the floor, big toes touching. Your knees can be close together or they can go wide apart. And then let's slowly reach our tailbone towards our heels and come to child's pose. Now, if you want to rest your shoulders, I want you to take a deep bend into your elbows or extend your hands back beside your feet. And then soften your gaze or close your eyes and just let the weight of the body sink into the floor. Noticing where you can feel your inhalations expanding the body. And soften tension as you exhale. Let's take a few more deep breaths here. And then extending your palms out in front of you, place your hands shoulder width apart. Look up to the top of your mat. As you inhale, come forward onto the stomach. Stretch our legs back behind us, bringing the big toes to touch, heels falling out to the sides. You should engage your abdominal muscles. As you inhale, lift your chest slightly, taking your forearms out in front of you for sphinx pose. So we have our palms and our elbows shoulder width apart. If this feels like too much for your low back, you can always slide your elbows further forward away from your hip bones. I want you to keep your core turned on as you inhale, reach your chest forward and up. And you can keep your gaze down at the floor or lift your gaze up towards the ceiling, softening through the lower jaw and the throat, continuing to breathe right down into the lower abdomen. Next time you exhale, slide your elbows to the side, slowly lowering your chest and your head. You can touch your forehead down and rock your hips from side to side. Placing your palms underneath your shoulders. Contract through your core as you inhale. Come up to your hands and your knees. And from there, let's take our wrists slightly ahead of our shoulders, knees under hips with toes tucked, spreading your fingers as wide as you can. Keeping your abdominals engaged, let's inhale, tailbone up towards the sky, coming to downward dog. You're taking some time here to make whatever little movements feel good for your body. Maintaining the depth of your breath. Engage through your core as you inhale. Step your right foot forward, helping it forward till your knee is over your ankle. With an exhale, let's touch our left heel down to the mat, turning our left toes in slightly. Get nice and heavy through the outside edge of your left foot. And then bring your right elbow lightly onto your thigh. Your left arm can stretch up towards the ceiling, or your arm could come alongside your ear. I want you to let your hips get heavy, so you can take your feet a little wider apart if you need to, let the pelvis sink. And then make sure your right knee is drawing out towards your right pinky toe and draw your left shoulder back, allowing your chest to open up more towards the sky. And you can take your gaze wherever your neck feels relaxed. And then notice how your breath feels. Using your core to support you, let's inhale. Slowly draw up through your left fingertips, straightening your right leg. Turning both feet in slightly. Place your hands onto your hips. Okay, so heels are turned out, toes in slightly. Engaging your legs, you feel your kneecaps lift. Take a deep breath in, stretch your sternum up towards the sky. And then engage your core as you exhale, hinge from your hips and slowly come forward. Now you could take your hands onto the back of a chair or onto some hardcover books or blocks or anywhere on your legs that supports you, or perhaps all the way down to the floor. I want you to let your tailbone lift up towards the ceiling as the crown of your head gets heavy. You continue to listen to the sound of your breath. Keep pressing down through the outer edges of the feet, lifting the inner arches. And then engage your abdominal muscles with your hands underneath your shoulders. Inhale, lift your chest up halfway. As you exhale, walk your hands to the right. Turn your right toes up 90 degrees, bending your knee over your ankle. We'll keep our hands on the inside of the right foot, lift the back heel up. And from here, I want you to walk your right foot as wide as your mat and relax your left knee down to the floor, adding extra cushioning underneath that knee if you need to. And keeping your right knee over your ankle, reach your chest forward and lengthen through your spine. If this feels like too much for your hips here, I want you to take more height underneath your hands so your chest lifts up a little bit more, you have a little more space. Your body feels really comfortable here. You're going to keep your knee over your ankle, keep reaching your chest forward, and let your torso sink a little deeper. We're going to keep the upper body fairly at ease, so be in a place where your shoulders and neck are relaxed and your breath is steady. And placing your palms shoulder width apart, spread your fingers wide. Tuck your back toes under and engage your core as you inhale. Lift your left knee, lift your hips, step your right foot back to downward dog. Place your feet hip width apart as you lift up through your tailbone. Contract through your core as you inhale. Drag your right knee forward to the floor behind your right wrist. Stretching your left leg straight back in line with your hip. We want our weight to stay centered here, so if you need to, tuck a cushion or a folded up blanket underneath your right glute. And then make sure your front knee feels safe. You can hug that heel in a little closer to lessen the intensity, or walk that foot a little further forward to deepen this. Okay, let's start with a breath in that lifts the chest. So we lengthen our spine. And you can stay here, letting the hips get really heavy. Or you could use your next exhale to slowly walk your spine forward. And that might mean just leaning a little more into your palms. And you might lower down onto your elbows. You're always welcome to add support underneath your forehead. You're making sure that your hips stay squared forward, your weight is centered, and your spine is long. With your palms supporting you, let's take an inhale. Slowly press yourself up. Carefully roll over onto your right hip and swing your left leg around in front of you. So we're going to be sitting with the left leg stretched forward in line with the hip and the right foot to the inside of the leg. And you're welcome to sit up on the edge of a folded up blanket or a cushion to help untuck your tailbone. Okay, point your left toes up towards the ceiling and then interlock your thumbs. With your core engaged, let's inhale, extending the arms up overhead, lift through the chest. And then as you exhale, hinge from your hips and slowly fold forward. Now you can let your back round when that suits your body, resting your hands down onto your legs or on either side of them. Soften your neck, and then bring your attention into your body. And think of each inhalation making a little more space wherever you feel tension. You contract through your core. As you inhale, slowly roll yourself all the way up. And once your head lifts up, give your shoulders a nice big roll back and down. And then stretch your legs forward in front of you and shake out your legs. If you're sitting on some height, slide it off to the side and then make your way onto your hands and your knees. I want you to stack your knees underneath your hips and your wrists underneath your shoulders, and then spread your fingers wide apart. Finding a nice long neutral spine here. Let's contract through the core. As you inhale, stretch your right leg back and either tuck your toes under on the floor, reaching your heel away from you, or lift your right leg up. Hips stay squared towards the mat, and we're going to hug the front of the rib cage in, navel in, so the spine is long. And keep the back of your head in line with your spine too. And you can stay here. Inhale and extend your left arm forward. I want you to be in a place where your breath is easy. So notice how your breath feels. Try to slow down your exhalations. As you breathe out, lower your palm and then your knee. You can round your back and roll your wrists. And coming back to neutral. Keeping wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, long spine here. Press down into the knuckles of the hands, engage through the core. As you inhale, send your left leg back, toes can tuck, heel reaching away, or you can lift your toes up. You're dropping that left hip down to face the floor. With your spine nice and long, you can hold here. Inhale, reach your right arm forward, softening through your facial muscles. And as you exhale, lower your palm and then your knee. Let's rest the tops of the feet on the floor. You can round through your back for a couple of breaths and roll your wrists. And then when you're ready, sink your tailbone towards your heels and come back to child's pose. You can stay with your knees wide apart in child's pose or have your knees close together. So find what feels best for you. And then surrender the weight of the body into the floor. And with your palms stretched forward, look up between your hands. Inhale and come back onto your stomach. Bringing your big toes to touch, heels falling out to the sides. We'll keep our hands under our shoulders and touch our forehead down to the floor. Spreading your fingers wide apart, hug your elbows in beside your rib cage, and then extend your tailbone back towards your heels as you draw your navel up towards your spine. Inhale, take your head and chest forward and up, roll your shoulders back. You lift up only as high as feels safe for your spine. Gaze can stay low or your head can tip back. We'll take one more deep breath in. Use your exhale to lower your chest and your head. And then pressing your palms down into the floor, engage your core. Inhale, come back to your hands and your knees. And we'll tuck our toes and return to downward dog. Making sure your feet are hip width apart here. Lifting up high through the hips to lengthen more through the spine. And with your core supporting you, inhale, step your left foot forward. You help that foot forward till your left knee is over your left ankle, and then lower your right heel down to the ground, right toes turned in slightly. We want to make sure that our left heel lines up with the arch of our right foot. And then we'll take our left elbow light onto the thigh. Right arm can extend up or alongside the ear, letting the hips get heavy here as you open your chest towards the ceiling. We want to make sure that our left knee is staying out towards our pinky toe. We should be able to see our left big toe. And I want you to see how deep your breath can be here. And with your core supporting you, inhale, draw yourself up through your right fingertips, straightening your left leg. As you exhale, turn both feet in slightly and place your hands onto your hips. So with heels out, toes in slightly. Palms can stay here, or you can sweep your hands behind you, bend your elbows and interlace your fingers, letting your hands rest on your lower back. As you inhale, float your chest up towards the ceiling, and then contract through your core. Use your exhale to slowly fold forward. Your hands can always reach to a chair or books or blocks or the mat. But if your hands are interlaced at your lower back, they could rest there. Or if it feels safe for your neck and your shoulders, you could extend your arms. You always choose to be in the place where your breath is easy. Let's keep sinking into the outer edges of the feet, engaging a little through the legs. As you exhale, slowly relax your arms down in front of you. Align your hands underneath your shoulders, engage your core. Inhale, lift your chest up halfway. As you exhale, walk your hands over to the left. Left toes turn out 90 degrees, left knee over the ankle. We'll lift our right heel up. Hands on the inside of the left foot. Walk your left foot as wide as your mat and slowly lower your right knee down to the floor. Remember, you can add more height underneath your hands if that feels better for your body. We're going to keep our front knee over our ankle, reach the chest forward, drawing the shoulders away from the ears. Notice how your breath feels. If you would like to deepen this, spine stays long as you start to sink a little bit deeper. Be mindful of the neck and the shoulders, mindful of your breath. You really want your hips to be super heavy here. Move your hands on your mat, shoulder width apart. Tuck your back toes under and engage your core. Use your inhale to lift your back knee and your hips. Step your left foot back to downward dog. Keeping your core engaged, let's inhale. Left knee draws forward to the floor behind the left wrist for pigeon pose. So we keep our weight centered here, maybe adding some cushioning underneath the left glute to help us with that. Right leg stays stretched back in line with your hip. You start with a breath in to lift up and lengthen. And then you might stay here and just let the pelvis get really heavy as the hips square forward. Or keeping that long spine, you could exhale and slowly lower the chest. And you go just to the depth that feels safe for your body. Don't linger here if this doesn't feel good for your front knee. Remember, you can adjust that front heel. It could tuck in closer to the pelvis or move further away. And be really mindful of your body. Mindful of your breath. With your hands supporting you, let's slowly lift the chest up. Carefully roll over onto the left hip. Bring your right leg all the way around in front of you. Move that right leg out in line with your hip, left foot to the inside of the leg. You are welcome to sit up on the edge of your cushion or your blanket if that helps you relax the back of your hamstring and untuck your tailbone. And then we'll point our right toes up towards the ceiling. Hook the thumbs. Nice deep inhale, reaching up towards the sky. And then engage your core. Use your exhale to slowly come forward. Try to keep your toes pointing up towards the ceiling. Letting your hands rest down with a nice deep bend in your elbows. And you may always deepen the bend in your right knee, especially if that's safer for your lower back, or if you feel a lot of sensation right behind that knee joint. I'm tuning into one breath at a time here. You contract through your core as you inhale, slowly roll yourself all the way up. And once your head lifts up, give your shoulders a nice big circle back and down. And then extend both legs and shake out your knees. If you're sitting on some height, slide it off to the side. And let's come back onto all fours. And from there, with wrists ahead of shoulders and knees under hips, fingers spread nice and wide, toes tucked under. You're going to sink down through fingertips and the knuckles of the hands. Contract through the core and inhale to downward dog. From there, as you breathe in, walk your feet up towards your palms, bending your knees as much as you need to until you come into a forward fold at the top of your mat. Your feet hip width and parallel, your arms can dangle here, but you could also hold onto your elbows or the backs of your legs. Letting your tailbone tip up towards the ceiling, soften your neck as much as you can. With your hands hanging down towards the floor, tuck your chin in towards your chest, and then draw your navel towards your spine. Inhale and carefully roll yourself all the way up to standing. You may always walk your hands up your legs to support you, so listen to your spine. We're going to lift our head up last, and then give the shoulders a big roll back and down. Relax your arms alongside your body. Balance your weight evenly between each of your feet. And then close your eyes or soften your gaze and tune into your breath. Find one spot to focus your gaze on. Contract through your core. As you inhale, shift your weight onto your right foot and bend your left knee so your heel comes back behind you. Option 1 is to stay here. Option 2, if it's okay for your shoulder and your knee, is to take your left hand to your left foot, drawing your heel in towards your glute as you squeeze your inner thighs towards one another and stretch the crown of your head up. You can stay here, or you could inhale and reach your right hand up towards the ceiling. Always remembering that your breath is your priority, so just keep your breath as steady as you can. And when the exhale, we'll lower the arm, lower the foot, give the body a little shake, and then come back to mountain pose with your feet hip-width apart. And take a moment to be still here and focus on your breath. And finding your drishti or your focal point. Contract your abdominal muscles, and this time as you inhale, shift your weight onto your left foot, bending your right knee. You can stay here or reach your right hand to hold your foot. Heel hugs in, inner thighs squeeze towards one another. Stretch up through the chest and the crown of the head. You can hold here or breathe in and float your left hand up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, we'll lower the left arm, lower the right foot, have another shake, letting tension go. And then plant your feet hip-width apart with a little bend in your knees. Take a breath in, standing tall, and then engage your core. Exhale your chin towards your chest, and we'll unstack the spine, rolling all the way down. You can walk your hands down your legs if that feels better for your body, or deepen the bend in your knees. Once you come all the way down into your forward fold, your arms can dangle. You can hold onto your elbows. You might reach your hands up to your lower back, interlace your fingers, and take another yoga mudra. Take your body where it feels best for you. And then exhale to release the arms all the way down. And from here, you can either come straight to sitting, or if it's safe for your joints, you can walk your feet wider than your hips, turn your toes out slightly, and carefully lower down into a squat. Now, if your heels lift as you do this, you could tuck a blanket or a cushion underneath your heels. You want to let our knees open out towards our pinky toes, and your fingertips can stay on the floor, or your palms can come together. You're only holding here as long as it feels safe for your joints. To invite the breath deep into the abdomen and the lower back. And with your palms helping you, let's come all the way down to sitting. Stretch the legs forward for a moment, give them a shake. You're welcome to sit up on the edge of a cushion or a block or a folded up blanket. And then we're going to connect the soles of our feet and let our knees open out wide to the sides. I want you to slide your heels forward so you make a big diamond shape with your legs. And then rest your hands onto your legs as you lift up through your chest. Start with an inhalation. And then drawing the navel towards the spine. Use your exhale to slowly come forward. You're welcome to keep your back straight if that's best for your body, but you could also soften forward, let the spine round, head heavy, deep bend in the elbows, and open up a little more through your back muscles. And focusing on one breath at a time, Think of your inhalations drawing down into your low back, into your hips. As you exhale, let your upper body grow heavier. And keeping your chin in towards your chest, use your core to support you as you inhale, roll yourself up one vertebra at a time. And once your spine is stacked, take your shoulders back. You can lengthen your legs, give them a rock from side to side. If you're sitting on some height, move that off to the side. And from here, I want you to carefully come down onto your back. Once you're down on your back, you can hug your knees in towards your chest, resting your hands onto your legs, rock side to side, and relax your lower back. Inviting your legs back to the center, let's slowly lower the feet down to the floor. Now with the knees bent, I want you to bring your knees and your feet together and then cross your right leg over top of your left leg. As much as feels okay for your knees and your hips, as if you were sitting in a chair with your legs crossed. From there, we're going to engage our abdominal muscles with an inhale. Carefully shift your pelvis to the right a little bit. And then extend your arms at shoulder height, palms turned down. Let your shoulder blades sink into the floor. Nice and slow as you exhale, lower your legs over to the left. And you can uncross your legs at any time. So if this feels like too much for your right hip or your low back, uncross your legs. You could also tuck cushions or blankets underneath the legs to support them, or just let them sink right down towards the floor. So you listen to your body. We want to make sure both shoulder blades stay planted on the mat, so the chest is open towards the ceiling. If it feels good, you could turn your gaze out towards your right hand. And then close your eyes or soften your gaze and let your attention draw into your body. You contract through your core, bringing your head to center. As you inhale, carefully bring your knees back to the middle. And then shift your pelvis to the center, uncross your legs, tuck your knees into your chest, and rock side to side. And we'll take our legs back to the middle, and then softly touch the feet down to the floor. With your knees bent, once again, we'll bring our knees and our feet together. And this time, I want you to take your left leg on top of your right leg. Engaging your abdominals. Let's carefully shift the pelvis to the left a little bit. And then extend the arms back out at shoulder height. Shoulder blades heavy. Take a nice big breath in. And then slowly with control, as you exhale, sink your legs over to the right. And remember, your legs can uncross at any time. You could just stack your knees and your feet. You could tuck blankets or cushions underneath your legs, or just let them sink towards the floor. Be really good to your hip and your lower back. Make sure there's no straining there. If you like, your gaze can turn out to the left this time. Keep drawing your breath down into your low back. And let your body sink into the floor as you breathe out. And taking your head back to the middle. Tone your abdominals. As you inhale, knees come to center. We'll shift the hips back to the middle. And then uncross the legs, hug them in towards you, rock side to side or make circles with your knees. From here, your knees in the middle, let's place one palm on each knee and start to draw the knees out towards the armpits. Allow your shoulder blades to sink down into your mat, keeping the back of your neck long. Reaching forward slightly through your sits bones, lengthen your spine and allow your breath to draw down into your lower abdomen. And letting your abdomen expand towards your thighs. Feel the back of the body sinking into your mat. Soften across your chest. And we want the spine to stay as long as it is right now. So you might stay exactly where you are. If you want to deepen this, and you can do so while keeping your spine long, start by flexing your ankles. And then reach your arms down the inside of your legs to hold either the insides of the shins or the ankles, or perhaps the inner edges of the feet. But I want you to make sure that your shoulders aren't creeping up. We're going to draw our shoulder blades back down into the mat, broaden the collarbones. Stretch the sits bones forward, lengthen through the spine, keep the back of the neck long. Holding here at the heels low, continue to breathe into the belly. If you have a hold of your feet and your spine is still long, you could stay here, or perhaps you stack your ankles over your knees, soles of the feet facing up towards the sky, shoulder blades still sinking down into the earth as the spine lengthens. We maintain that big, deep breath. And then exhale, slowly release, hugging your legs in towards you. Make whatever little movements feel good to release the lower back and the hips. And taking your knees to the center, I want you to slowly touch your feet down to the floor. And from here, we're going to invite the soles of our feet together and let our knees open wide to the sides. So you can have your heels in close to the pelvis or further forward, depending on how this feels for your knees. You could tuck cushions underneath your knees or your thighs to support your joints. I want you to let your tailbone get heavy. Keep the back of your neck long. And then let's rest one hand on the abdomen, one palm on the chest. You can draw your knees back to center anytime you need to, so please listen to your body. But while you're here, let's come to a nice deep 3-part breath, using each inhale to expand the belly, the ribs, and the chest. Exhaling to soften the chest, the ribs, and the belly. And reaching your hands down to the outsides of your thighs. Use your inhale to slowly guide your knees back to the center. Keeping your knees bent, walk your feet as wide as your mat. And rest your hands onto your abdomen and then slowly windshield wiper your knees from side to side. Eventually, we'll draw the knees back to the center. You can hug them in towards your chest one more time, or make any other little movements that feel good for your body. And then when you're ready, I want you to grab sweaters or socks or a blanket. You're going to make yourself comfortable for a relaxation. So for your relaxation, you can stretch out onto your back. If you do have a folded up blanket or cushions around, you might take those behind your knees to add a little soft bend to your knees, relaxing a little more through your hips. You could also just take your feet wider than your mat, let your toes fall out to the sides. And your palms can rest onto your abdomen, or your arms could go wide, palms facing the ceiling. And making sure the back of the neck is long. I want you to close your eyes or soften your gaze. Draw your attention into your body, inviting your attention down to your feet. Let your feet relax. Soften your legs and your hips. Relax your lower back and abdomen. Softening your chest and upper back. Relax your hands, your arms. Soften your neck, your lower jaw. Relax your eyes, your forehead. And let your whole body relax. Gently start to bring your awareness back into your body. Starting to slowly move your body. Follow your body's intuition and make whatever little movements feel good for you. You can start to let those movements grow. And then carefully roll over to your side and press yourself up to a comfortable seated position. And once you've found a comfortable seat, I invite you to touch your palms together in front of your chest as you lift the crown of your head up towards the ceiling. With your gaze soft or your eyes closed, draw your attention to the sensation of your breath. Taking one more deep breath in and a long breath out. Namaste.